All right, let's connect here for September 17th, 2023 for our live stream. It's just crazy to think about. We're past the middle of September, and we're getting there, guys. 2 episodes down of Daryl Dixon. We're going to talk about them. Don't worry about that. Last 45 minutes of the stream, because we'll go for an hour. We'll talk about the episodes, and we'll talk about a couple things that I went to yesterday. Was a convention. We'll talk about that. Still finishing up Ozark, and anything else you guys want to talk about, let me know your thoughts. Post your comments below. But I am One Eye Bry, also known as PT. Don't know if I'm winking or blinking, but I'm definitely thinking about the Walking Dead Universe. A couple other shows that we're watching, plus, convention that I went to that was in Tampa. Well, it's still in Tampa. It's going today. It was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And so let me know your thoughts. Post your comments in the chat. We'll talk about it. Super chats are always welcome. Live chat is there. Are you enjoying the Daryl Dixon show? Because I am. 2 episodes in, and I have to say, it's the best spinoff that The Walking Dead has done. Hands down. Fear the Walking Dead? Not even close. World Beyond? Nope. Dead City? Good, but no. Tales of the Walking Dead? No. Dead City was a close. It's a second place. It's not a close second. The Daryl Dixon show right now is just doing everything that we want in a show, that I want in a show at least. Daryl can carry his own show, but Isabel helps the show greatly. In the second episode, we get to see more of her backstory, which is good. It's interesting. It's exciting. The actress does a great job, and it's kind of crazy to think that Fear the Walking Dead coming up next month. We have 6 final episodes of the 8th season. So 8 seasons of a show, and they couldn't do what Daryl did in 2 episodes. To me, that is crazy. That is ridiculous that the Daryl show is just so much better about everything else in the Walking Dead universe. Do you agree? Disagree? Let me know your thoughts. Post your comments in the chat. We appreciate it. But so I'll talk about the episodes, in 13 more minutes. Give it a break. So let's talk about this convention I was at yesterday. My wife and I, we went to 90s Con. It was in Tampa, which is cool that it was there. September 15th, 16th, and 17th. Tampa, Florida. Yep, 2023. So in here, we get to see a lot of different people from Boy Meets World, Full House, 90210, boy bands like Nick Carter, AJ, Howie, Joey Fatone, Danica McMillan from the Wonder Years, people from Family Matters, Saved by the Bell. We got a picture actually with Mark Paul Gosselaar, Mario Lopez, and Elizabeth Berkley, and it was a cool experience. My wife and I, we walked around and we saw the different booths and stuff. And T-Boz and Left Eye from TLC were there. Or not Left Eye. Chili. Sorry, Left Eye died. But T-Boz and Chili were there. And there wasn't a lot of people going to their booth. And I kind of felt bad. So it was always rough to see. In the 90210 booths, Brian Austin Green had a huge amount of people. Which I was like, wow, people love this guy. Which is cool. And people loved Steve, Ian Ziering, Tori Spelling had a good amount of people. Jason Priestley, people loved. Shannon Doherty wasn't there. She was taking pics at her photo ops at the time we were there. And then Gabrielle, who played Andrea, didn't really have the biggest line for it. And it's always kind of sad to be man, you go into a convention and you're not that popular. And some people are probably so it's definitely something that I was interested to see, how people are doing. And, it was cool to see, people there that, have stuff going on in their lives, physically and everything. Like Shannon Doherty, she was there, and it was cool. It was really cool there. And my wife and I, we found a spot where if you ever go to a convention, whatever the convention is regardless, usually they have to bring people from their booths to the photo ops, and they have to walk across the convention. And my wife had to go to the bathroom, so I, was sitting there waiting, or standing there waiting, because there wasn't a lot of chairs, which is ridiculous. And we're there waiting, and I see these 2 women and then another woman go into the bathroom, and the woman has a shirt on. It says escort, so she's one of the people that takes the celebrities from their booth back to there. And I was like, that was Rose McGowan from, Charmed and a couple other stuff. And I was like, oh, she went to the bathroom. And then my wife comes out. I was like, did you see Rose McGowan? She just ran in there. She's like, no. And so we kind of found a spot where people were coming and going to their photo ops. And we're standing there. And then Stephanie from Full House walks by. And then Mario Lopez walks by. And then Tori Spelling walks by. And then all these people were just walking by. So we're like, oh, man. So we found a chair. My wife sat down, and I was standing. And we found another chair. And we're just sitting there. And all these people, literally, like Mark Paul Gosselaar, Mario Lopez, Elizabeth Berkley, walked right past us to go to their photo ops, to go through the section to go back there. And it was really funny because Elizabeth Berkley was on her phone. She was FaceTiming her husband, I'm guessing. And she was right there by herself. No escort, no anything, just walking there. And she was talking to her husband, I guess, and she turned, and there was a big line of people. And she's like, yep, see, that's my line right there. And it wasn't her line. The line was for Brian Austin Green, but I thought it was really funny. So she was kind of bragging to her husband, and she turned, and we could, see the phone. She was so close that she went in there and walked in. It was just really cool. I know it doesn't have anything to Walking Dead-wise, but it was just a convention that we went to, and we got a picture with Zach, Slater, and Jesse, and it was cool. Big line for that. A lot of people had a lot of fun. And there was one person from The Walking Dead there. He was actually on Boy Meets World. Minkus, who was a savior in The Walking Dead. So, sorry, my name is... so the first people that went by us was the cast of Family Matters. So Reginald was in a motorized scooter. He zipped right past us. He was driving by so fast. It was pretty funny. And then Joe Marie Payton, his wife on the show, and then the daughter Kelly walked right by us. But Minkus, where's his name? Sorry, Lee Norris. He was there, and he was the only other person that was on The Walking Dead that was at the convention, and it was a 90s con convention. But, it was really cool. It was a good time. It was there. Mark Paul Gosselaar was really nice, and, it was just a good, cool convention. We just got the one picture, walked around, and, got some good experiences and a good time. We haven't been to a convention in a long time. Mark Paul Gosselaar had a big line for his booth, and then also he did the trio photo, Zach, AC Slater, and Jesse, so Mario, Mark, and Elizabeth. They had the trio photos first. Well, Mario did some photos and then left and then came back, and then he was in the trio photos. And I guess Elizabeth Berkley there too, but Mark had pictures after ours. And so there was the 3 lines for our trio photos, and then there was a separate really big line for Mark by himself. And then at his booth, when we walked by, there was always a huge line, and he was standing and taking the photos with people outside of his booth, like right there, but outside where you have more room to stand up. And then Mario was sitting down, so I don't know if he just didn't want to stand, because you can be on your feet for a couple hours, but it was kind of weird to see the difference of it. And Mario didn't smile with teeth at all, but Mark did, and you could see the people it just seemed the different interactions. Nothing against Mario and nothing there too, but you could see that the people were different with their fans, and it wasn't I don't know, I just felt they were more appreciative or happier to see them, especially Brian Austin Green, Ian Ziering. They were just and even Tori Spelling, she was really friendly with a bunch of people when she walked by us, and she took a picture with someone and this, and it was really cool. It was a really cool thing to see majority of the people there. And again, not knocking Mario, but he just didn't seem like he was as energetic and excited for it like other people. And there's again, maybe he was tired, and I was talking to my wife about it. We don't know. Maybe he had a migraine, maybe he didn't sleep well, maybe he didn't do this, maybe he didn't that. But because you're coming from Los Angeles, most of them probably came from Los Angeles or California at least to Tampa, time zone changes. It could be there. So I'm just saying it was a big difference I saw, but it was still a great time, and much love to those guys and those people there that had a good time for that. So I just wanted to talk about the 90s Con Convention. There's one in New Jersey coming up in December that's called Christmas Con. Some of the cast from Christmas Vacation, one of my favorite movies of all time, let alone Christmas movies, will be there. And then there's another 90s Con Convention in New Haven, Connecticut in March of next year. So if you're interested in that, be on the look for that. It's 90s con, just like it is, and that's the number 4 entertainment. So check out that if you're interested. So big shout out to them, and it was a cool thing. So all right, guys. Other than that, we're watching Ozark. Still going in that season 4. Still enjoy the show, but I can see like it's kind of trying to trail off. They're kind of wrapping stuff up a little bit. They're going certain ways, and it's just kind of annoying a little bit where Marty and Wendy aren't on the same page like ever. Charlotte wants to leave, and then she wants to stay. Jonah wants to stay and does help out, and now he's doing his own thing. And the whole thing with Ruth and Wyatt and Darlene and stuff. And I don't know, would you say like Darlene gets better or worse throughout the series? Or is it like she's terrible, then she's worse, and then she gets better? Or what would you say about the Darlene character who plays the Dama on Dead City? But overall, I'm really enjoying the Daryl show. How about you guys? Are you liking it, loving it? Are you excited for it? I definitely think that it's to me it's the best spinoff there is so far. So Carol says, I'm celebrating my 70th wedding anniversary today. Just want to stop in and say hello. Well, congratulations, Carol. 37 years. That's pretty awesome. So congratulations there. Happy wedding anniversary. Happy anniversary there. 37 years. That's great. Michael says, my Gators beat Tennessee yesterday. I'm happy your Cowboys looked good last week. Yeah, the Cowboys, that game was weird. Like the Cowboys did everything right, and the Giants did everything wrong in that game. And then the next game was the Jets home opener where Aaron Rodgers tears his Achilles, the 4th play or whatever it is of the season for him. So he's out, and now they're saying, oh, he could come back, and he's going to do this and he's going to do that. And you're like, wishful thinking. So if the Jets make it to the Super Bowl, which I doubt the Jets would make it to the Super Bowl with Zach Wilson, but you never know, would he be the better option to play if the Jets get to the Super Bowl, basically because of that defense, the run game, and Zach does what he does to manage the thing. But the Jets play the Cowboys this week, so we'll see what happens there. I'm hoping the Cowboys win, obviously, but long season to go, crazy to think, and we'll see where it goes there too. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Rob and Bob and everybody for joining here. OMJ, thank you for the super chat. Hey, Bri, good to see you. Hi, everyone. Well, thank you, OMJ. Appreciate it. So, I posted a video on Monday, my review of the first episode. I enjoyed it. So let's talk about the first episode a little bit of the Daryl Dixon show. It's a good start. It was a good start for everything. I liked where it was going with Daryl and Isabel. I feel kind of bad for Laurent. There's a lot of expectations for that kid. He's lived a lonely life in the convent, and the abbey up there with the nuns. No really other kids to play with and have a childhood. And so they taught him stuff, and he's kind of, it is. But it's a good thing that the first episode started the way it did. We still don't know how Daryl actually ended up where he did, but we know that he got on a boat. There's probably a lot of theories and a lot of speculation about Carol showing up and the bottle and the thing with Rick and here and there. And, I don't know how it's going to connect. It kind of feels like it's its own thing. It's connecting with the World Beyond post-credit scene. It's connecting with the Dr. Jenner stuff. It's connected with the CDC, the variant walkers. Still really haven't seen much of that besides the burners now. So do you think the burners are good? They're dumb. They're stupid. They're worth introducing. So that's kind of a different take on it. I think it's all right. I don't think it's necessary, but they went that way to have acid blood. So I don't know if that was experiments that have gone wrong and that there. So, but I'm sure it's going to be answered. I have faith in Norman and Greg Nicotero and, a bunch of other people that are involved with the show. I don't know who the showrunner is. Like when you used to watch a Dead City, there was Eli Journet, the showrunner for Dead City, and he talked about the episodes and this and that. I haven't seen that in the stuff I've been watching for the Daryl show. Does that actually happen somewhere? I've seen the little teasers for the next episodes, but I haven't seen that. I don't think they're doing that here too. Gary Page asks Q&A, Do you think we will get an episode showing how he got there? Well, I think they're going to cover it for sure. We'll see him on the boat and stuff there. We'll see him when he's driving his motorcycle around in North America. I don't know if it's the Northeast or Canada or what, but I think we'll see. It'll be much more explained for sure. Jonathan Wilder, Q&A, did you see The Rock has finally come back on SmackDown the past Friday night? Maybe we'll get Rock. So they were talking about that, John, on the Pat McAfee show, that it's kind of been that The Rock was supposed to happen with Roman Reigns. The Rock was pretty awesome, with Austin Theory and Pat McAfee on SmackDown. The Rock, it's crazy to think that The Rock is such a better entertainer than like 80% of the wrestlers that are in the WWE right now. There's only a handful that really do it. And John Cena, too. So if you took John Cena and The Rock out of the WWE and they never come back, the WWE would be in massive trouble, because what is captivating out there? Roman Reigns needs the help from the bloodline, from all the other people around him, from all this stuff. He can't carry anything by himself. When he was with the Shield, when he was this, when he was that, and then he put all the chips in his basket, it's just hurting the WWE. He just needs to lose to Cody Rhodes and be out of there, is my opinion. So we'll think. I guess Bob's asking how old is he supposed to be. Laurent, I think, is supposed to be like 11 years old, I think, around there. So he's like a preteen. Maybe he's 12 or 13, but he's still pretty young. So Wilson says David Zabel is the showrunner, Bryce. So I don't know who that is. I haven't seen him doing interviews. I haven't seen it. Seth Rollins is good, but that's it. Like, again, so you have Seth Rollins. Who else? I saw something about AJ Styles. I like AJ Styles. I like Seth Rollins. I like Drew McIntyre. I like the big guy that's like real muscular. I'm back. He's like bald guy. He yells. He screams a lot. But he's pretty good. And other than that, there's really, and then the Usos are good, but the New Day, like Big E and stuff, but he's probably done. So I don't know what's going to happen there. But again, there's really nobody that's really captivating for me, at least. But how about you? Who do you like, John? Who are you wrestlers that you like now in the WWE that are like captivating enough? Yeah, I don't know much about LA Knight, but he's probably going to get a big push because he's their upcoming guy. So the first episode, did you guys like the first episode of the Daryl show? What did you like about it? What didn't you like? Did it make sense? What did you think about that? Let me know. So overall, guys, the Daryl show is exciting. It's interesting. It feels like The Walking Dead just in France. But I don't think, yes, there's some language barrier and stuff. But I feel like Daryl when we're there. Like Daryl doesn't know English, doesn't know French. He kind of doesn't even know English. No, I'm just kidding. He knows English. He doesn't know French. I don't know French besides a couple things. So we feel like a fish out of water, right? So we don't know what they're saying. And he says that. He's like, I don't know what you're saying. I don't know. I can't help you there too. So it's definitely something that I'm excited to see what happens with Daryl. I don't know. Like in Dead City, people were talking about it on Facebook. So they brought all these new characters in, like Tommaso and the Tribe people and all these people, and then gone. The Croat, the Dama, Maggie, Negan. And Armstrong. And so, but they killed off a lot of new characters, which is kind of what they do. They're filler for the show. They're not going to kill Daryl. They're not going to do anything to hurt Daryl enough to really hurt the character. Thanks, Max. Max says, I'm French. I can help if you have questions. Not really. Stuff makes sense. I shouldn't have to have an interpreter because of the show. Like, I don't want to watch a foreign film where I have to understand stuff. Like, it's just so confusing. Like, I don't think the Daryl show is that at all. I clearly understand that Daryl ran into some bad people. It's a long story. We don't know exactly how it went down. He was on a boat. He escaped the boat, jumped off of there, damaged some of the walkers. There was a mutiny with maybe Daryl and some other people. He got off, somehow got onto the underside of a boat that flipped over, tied himself to the boat somehow. I don't know. I don't think we're going to see any of that stuff. It's just going to be left because it probably doesn't make sense. Gets to the shoreline, walks to, I guess, around the Marseille area. And, that's then he runs into this and that and gets injured and gets captured and gets injured and gets taken care of. And the nun's there. And now, so it's dealing with Cadron, who's basically the only survivor of his group there, that is wounded pretty good. Daryl, shot him twice and he's limping around and everything too. So we get to see that more in the second episode. So overall, I've enjoyed it so far, and hopefully you have as well too. So let's talk about the second episode now, right? So I'm a little bit into it. We got 40 minutes left of my hour stream. So the second episode, we see a lot more of Isabel, which is good. I can see why people like the actress. I don't really know her from Harry Potter. Like I said, I haven't seen that or the other stuff she's in, but she's good. She's really good. I mean, it reminds me of like Norman's fiance, like Diane Kruger. She's kind of got that, European feel, and she kind of got that look a little bit too. So I was like, oh. And then I was thinking, why didn't you just cast your fiance? You could have cast her in the role of Isabel. But I guess, I don't know if they're going to be a love interest or not. And if they are, great. If they're not, I don't care. I mean, I know are people still pushing for Carol and Daryl to get together? Does anybody care about that anymore? I mean, I don't really care too much about it. So Max says, I'm from, I'm not even going to try to say that. Someone got mad of how I said, like Larve or whatever. Is that what it is? Le Havre is how it looks like, but it's probably wrong. But it's the main French port for cargo ships coming from U.S. East Coast, which makes no sense for Daryl to arrive in Marseille in south of France. Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not trying to get caught up in the technical details of it. Like, I don't know the area and this and that, but it's probably like if Daryl was leaving New York, how did he end up in Texas? Is that kind of similar to it? Like, how did you end up around the bend? Like, it doesn't fit. But either way, it is what it is, and Daryl's there. Not everything is going to make sense in the Walking Dead universe, right? I mean, it's a fictional thing about zombies, people coming back to life. So we get to see about Isabel, who was living a kind of like club lifestyle where she was dancing and drinking and doing drugs, I guess. I don't know. It just kind of felt like she was partying a lot. And then she's at a party, and she's is a sister city of Tampa. What do you mean by that, Max? That's cool, but I don't know what you mean by that. So it's cool to see that the character, like when I was watching the Isabel stuff where she was at the club and this and that, and then she left, and then the world started to break down. She was leaving. She was standing outside. We could see the Eiffel Tower, and it was cool to see. And then she was this and that, and then somebody was attacking this one, and then someone's biting this one. She goes down to get a train. The people get off the train, and the stuff gets chaotic, and then so she runs away, and she gets this. As she's walking up these steps, she goes there, and then more stuff's breaking down. She comes to an overturned truck. The driver of the truck, I'm guessing, is kind of trapped there. He comes back as a walker. He gets up, starts coming after Isabel. Isabel is kind of the walker's coming after Isabel. This car comes out of nowhere, takes out the walker. This guy gets out of the car for some reason and says, "Get in the car." And then she gets in, so he gets back in the car. He could have just rolled the window down. I was like, "Get in." Somehow she knew him. We don't know if that was her boyfriend or ex-boyfriend or sugar daddy or something like this or whoever it was. But either way, they knew each other. They go back to Isabel's place. She finds her sister, who is asleep. Turns out she's pregnant. That's Laurent's mother. So Isabel is Laurent's aunt. So taking care of Laurent is the dying wish of I don't know Isabel's sister's name. It might have been said in there, and it probably was, but it just blanked on me because either way, she dies. She gets bit on the arm as they're trying to drive around, and it's cool that we see the backstory of things, but it's kind of like the Last of Us, because Ellie's mom was bit, gave birth. Ellie's mom is about to give birth. She gets bit. Basically in that whole sequence, gives birth. Ellie is immune. So does that mean that Laurent is going to be immune? If everybody is infected anyway, does it matter? Or are they going to have to do experiments on Laurent? Because he was I guess, somewhat antibodies being, because it's kind of questionable what they want to do with it. We don't know, because when we see that Isabel goes to the Abbey with her sister, the nuns and the priest who's alive at the time takes care of Isabel's sister. Isabel's sister is 7 months pregnant, so Laurent is premature. The baby they're using is definitely not premature, but either way, it doesn't really matter. Again, stuff doesn't have to add up as much. Laurent's mom dies about to give birth. They tie up Laurent's mom and they have a C-section and deliver the baby. The baby's not breathing at first, but then the baby lives, obviously, because Laurent has survived all these years. So it's something that we get to see. Isabel, Laurent is holding the baby, walks down through the church, sees Saint Laurent, however you want to say it. That's why the baby is named Laurent. So we get to see the origin of Laurent, Isabel's sister. So we kind of thought Isabel was going to be the aunt of Laurent, and that's how it goes. So we get to see that backstory throughout the episode, but it's basically Daryl, Sylvie, Laurent, and Isabel on a cart going around. They come up to this small town, and the donkey that they have that's pulling the cart stops. The donkey will not go. So all these walkers come out. Daryl lets the donkey go to get away. It runs through them, gets away, ends up actually dying later on. So there's a big thing in the episode that Isabel and Sylvie don't want to lie to Laurent. They don't want to hurt his feelings. So it's something that it just makes sense that you don't want to hurt your kids' feelings. You want to protect them. But then they find out that the donkey wasn't safe. It was actually eaten by walkers and then a dog, and it got killed. And then he finds out, and he's like, you lied to me, blah, blah. And so now he's pissed off about that. And Daryl's like, yeah, you don't want to lie to the kid. Like, you just got to tell him the truth. And then that comes back later on with the leader of these kids that capture Daryl, and they basically work together to go get these supplies from this castle, which is a pretty cool scene. And one of the brothers that was there went on this run to attack this raid against the castle, and ends up dying. And then the brother sees it, and then he gets mad at the leader of that group. And so it's kind of like you don't want to lie to your kids, but you don't want to tell them exactly the truth all the time. There's times where you probably want to protect them a little bit more, but this is one of those things where you just tell them the truth in this world. You don't want to hide stuff from them because it's going to come back around. So I see Kelly writing Father Daryl and Max Father Daryl. So when the kids, it's basically like Lord of the Flies kind of a situation. They capture Daryl, and then they capture Sylvie and Laurent and Isabel. They go back to the place. And it reminds me of like the Lost Boys and Peter Pan and Captain Hook and all that stuff. And I think that's what it is. I think it's a callback to that and a shout out to them, to Robin Williams as Hook and Peter Pan, the movie Hook, if you've ever seen that. So Robin Williams is actually in the movie as the old show that he was in, Mork and Mindy, is the TV show that they're playing when they're watching. And it's just really cool. I love Hook. I grew up watching Hook like a million times on VHS, so that shows how old I am. But it was a kind of a cool thing to see. It was just cool. It just worked really well for me and probably a lot of people. So Isabel says to the leader that captures Daryl and them that they're nuns. Even him, the American. And he doesn't speak French because he's American, and so they make a little dig at Americans. And so they call him Father Daryl. And so he realizes, and then the leader of this group, the girl, she speaks English, so then luckily she doesn't have to have a translator and all that stuff, so it just works. That was the annoying thing with Black Summer, where that lady just like screamed all the time and is like, hey, and then just runs around and she speaks Korean or whatever, and you're like, why did that have to happen? Like, why did that have to be that way? It didn't have to be at all. Like, in the show, people speak English and French, so it works really well. So it's not like Isabel only speaks French. She speaks English. Daryl doesn't understand what people are saying when it's French, neither would I, to most degree of it. And then you're like, okay, so it works, because they're doing everything in a way that's rewarding and exciting and just works for the show, in my opinion. So Isabel calls Daryl Father Daryl, so it's really funny. When he's asked to do, say grace at the dinner table, I don't know about you, but I felt like it was heartfelt and kind of emotional a little bit. And that's what Norman Reedus brings to The Walking Dead. Like, some people like Daryl, some people don't, some people this, some people like that. Daryl's got a lot of dialogue in the show. And it's showing, I think somebody said, like one of the reviewers, they're making us fall in love with Daryl all over again. And I totally agree with that. It's one of those things where Daryl's show really works on multiple levels, and Norman Reedus being one of them, doing a great job, which I had faith in at first. I'm not going to lie. I was a little cautious about, I don't know, about France and this and how he got there and blah, blah, blah. But it really works. It really is good there, too. So, but we see that they call him Father Daryl, and he gives grace. And it's really nice. You know, it's just, he's just got a way about him that was just heartfelt, and it felt good. Jonathan Wilder, Q&A, did you hear that, is that Red Dead Redemption 3 is in the works? I'm so excited. I'm probably not going to play that, so I don't know. But yeah, Red Dead Redemption, I know people love that stuff. So it's a cool thing for a lot of fans too. So Daryl, so they go and they get untied, they give them back their weapons, and they're there. And so these kids, it was a preschool that they took over. And it's a bunch of kids of different ages. And so they grew up in the zombie apocalypse. And they're good kids. They're taking care of each other. They're doing this. They're doing that. And there was a lady that ends up dying in the episode, but who was taking care of them. And so she taught them well what to do, but the lady's been sick for 6 months now. And the leader of the group and the people, they're cutting up stuff. They're cooking. They're making... they're planting food and crops and everything, and they're doing well, and they're doing what they need to do to survive, and it's pretty cool. So Laurent is there, and he gets to meet kids, and he develops a friendship with these kids, but they have to leave because Laurent. So in the first episode, we kind of miss what's going on with the abbey where the nuns are, and they have to take this path to go to Paris, and so it's kind of interesting because Isabel starts in Paris. The backstory, she's in Paris. We see the Eiffel Tower. So she's maybe the next town over, but she's right there. And then she leaves to go to the nun's place. And that's how Laurent is born, and this and that, blah, blah, blah. But then they have to go back to Paris because their leader has a place there, and they want to help raise Laurent to be the new Messiah in Paris. So they have to go back to Paris to do that. And I don't know if that's going to connect, and I hope it does, with the World Beyond post-credit scene, the French CDC, the Dr. Jenner stuff, and all that stuff, which would be good. So, they didn't really elaborate more on the Jeanette lady who is running her own group, the boat, the port, the ship, the captain, what happened there. We didn't see any of that elaboration. But, it was interesting for that. And, the episode has, and then you see Cadron go back to the Abbey. He looks at all his dead, people that he was with. He grabs the tape recorder that Daryl said, "I'm Daryl Dixon," blah, blah, blah. So he's gonna show that to the lady Jeanette, that he knows he's gonna go after Daryl Dixon. She got the name Dixon from the captain of the ship, so he knows that, the American, this and that. He knows that they're gonna go to Paris because of the path that's marked out on the map. So we're gonna see that whole thing go down there. Next week's episode looks like they're gonna come across the new character Falou, which has other kids and other people and other stuff. So it's getting there. And it's crazy to think that next week's episode is the halfway point. Because, again, it's only 6 episodes. And I'm okay with it being 6 episodes because right now it just feels like a movie. And I don't need a 16-episode movie, which is kind of at times The Walking Dead felt like, which was good. But I'm fine with the pace it's going now, and I think it's going to be good. I'm probably going to want more episodes of it, and I'm glad they're filming season 2, and it's going to work into that. I don't know how Carol's going to fit in. I don't know how she's going to get there, but I'm sure there's tons of theories about the port. That would be logical, how she gets there, why she gets there. to do that. So Daryl basically has to get to the port because he wants to go home. Well, if they're filming the second season in France, Daryl doesn't go home. They're going to be stuck there, or they're going to help Isabel. They're going to help the people that need help. The leader of Isabel's group that wants to protect and train and teach and whatever, Laurent. So that's clearly going to be an emphasis there for that. Hopefully Daryl and Carol help out, do that. I just think that's probably what's going to happen too. So I see that happening there. But it was cool to see when Daryl was with the kids and they were eating and they were doing that. And then they listened to Daryl, Father Daryl, and he had his nice, speech, his grace. And then they were eating and they have soup. And they're like, oh, our manners are what we have. And they're like eating very well. And it's good. They're eating. And then Daryl like slurping on his bowl, like not with good manners at all. So then the kids are like, oh, he's doing that. I can do that. So then they all do it. And it's just a funny moment for it. But then they talk about what to do and where to go. And the attack on the castle, that the guy took all their supplies and did this and did that. And turns out that the guy is from Texas. So when Daryl, and I didn't get the girl's name, the leader of the group of kids, go to the castle, they look for a thing because the drawbridge is up. That's really the only way in. So they find like a broken, I guess it's I don't know if it's a hoe or a thing, something to help dig in the soil. And so he ties it to a string and he's Batman basically. And well, before that, he locks the girl in the shed or whatever, just like Carl did to Enid to protect her. And really saved Enid's life, I'm sure, but ultimately didn't traumatize her from what happened. And Daryl was like, I work better alone. I work better on my own. It's safer in there. So she's locked in there. Daryl throws the thing over, climbs it up. We don't see that. It slides down the drawbridge and comes in. And as he's walking around, he hears someone banging on a door. Daryl opens up the door, go there, and it's one of the kids that the guy captured. So he's trapped down there. And Daryl helps the kid out. Then Daryl's being shot at by the person in the castle, the man. So Daryl gives the rifle to the kid and is like, hey, use this. You have 9 shots. Help me out here. Keep this guy busy. So then Daryl runs in, puts the knife to the guy's neck, tells him to drop the gun, and throws the guy in the corner. And the guy's like, hey, I'm American. I'm from Texas, blah, 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 blah. Which is funny of Texas, Fear the Walking Dead on there as well. But Daryl is like, okay, you're gonna answer some questions. We want to find out more. I'm not your buddy. I'm not this. I'm not there. So they load up a cart, and they lower the drawbridge, and they're going across the drawbridge. And so Daryl, barrels fall out of the cart into the moat that's around the castle is filled with walkers, like a bunch of walkers. So they go in there, and Daryl is trying to figure out what to do. Daryl does some like dumb decisions in here. Like he puts the rifle in the cart, and the Texas guy is like tied up with a rope at the back of the cart. He runs after the gun. Daryl and him kind of fight. Daryl falls into the moat with the walkers. The guy is hanging there by his arms, which would kill your arms. Like it would be so much weight. You're being supported up there by your arms. But the guy's like, He's more worried about the walkers. Either way, he's ripped apart by the walkers. Daryl fights off the walkers with his Morning Star and whatever, blah, blah, blah. He shoots the barrels with the rifle, and it explodes, kills a bunch of the walkers. The girl gets out of the garage shed type thing because the other guy comes to help her, one of the other kids from the place that their group that she told to stay back because it's dangerous, but he came anyway and helped her and saved her and got him out there. They fire arrows into the walkers that help Daryl, save Daryl, kind of like Daryl saved Rick with the crossbow bolts at the prison kind of a thing. But then he puts the rope around his waist that they drop down. They use the horse that's there. The whole point that Daryl goes there to get the horse because, again, they lost the donkey. Daryl gets pulled up by the horse. They take out some of the walkers. The kid sees his brother that the leader said that he was still alive, but again, she lied to protect him. She loads an arrow into her bow and she's going to pull it to take out the Walker brother of her member of her group. She can't do it. Daryl kills the Walker kid, and then they go back with the horse and the supplies and everything like that. And the medical supplies were there to help the teacher of the school, but she died anyway. And so Daryl actually comes clean and says, look, the medication and the stuff wasn't going to help her anyway. I wanted the horse. I lied to you about the medication to get the horse. So Daryl tells the truth about lying about what it was. So it was something that was just interesting, that he doesn't want to lie to the kids and wants to tell the truth. And there's something about that. And I agree with that too. And again, yes, you shouldn't tell the truth 100% of the time, especially when it's not necessary like that. But for stuff like this, it's just coming back to bite them, because Laurent sees the horse, or sees the donkey that was killed by the Walkers, and he was pissed because Sylvie and Isabel lied to him about the safety of the donkey. And so he wants to stay with the kids, and they say they have to leave. But then he's like walking next to the cart, and Daryl gets down to talk with him and says, look, you know, you're special. He's like, yeah, they keep calling me special. I don't want to be special. I don't want to be this. And look, no one's called me special in a good light, so they probably called Daryl special, whatever. And it's just, Daryl's just working the show, and it's good, and everything there too. And also we see Sylvie was a kid at the Abbey with the nuns too, but like an older kid. She wasn't born there. She was like a younger kid that was there. So she was taught by them and raised by them, but she was a kid at the service, so she's younger than Isabel and everything. And so it just really works with the story of it. It's a good episode, and so far they're 2 for 2, really good episodes. And I would assume everybody in here is watching the show, but are people that you know watching the Daryl show, not watching it? Can you watch it in the UK? Can you watch it in other countries? I mean, I just don't. I don't know. So it's just one of those things where I'm excited about it. To me, it's the best spin-off show since they've ever made so far. I knew the donkey wasn't going to live, right? Because one, it's an animal in the zombie apocalypse in the Walking Dead universe. You know the animal is going to get killed off. So you don't want to be a doctor, and you don't want to be an animal in the zombie apocalypse in the Walking Dead. And it doesn't bode well, and we lost that animal for sure. Dragon Ball Radiant Q&A, what was your initial thought when Daryl let the horse go? Let the donkey go. I was initially thinking, like, the donkey's going to die. Like, I don't know if it was going to be those walkers, and they wanted to just get away from it. But they ended up getting away, and they got that. And so it was just, they got the horse. Like the story makes sense for the plot of it. If they had the donkey, they wouldn't need to go do that, and they probably don't get captured by the kids. They don't get captured by, they don't have to go get the horse. They don't have to go do anything like that. So it's just, I don't know. It just worked, in my opinion, too. So it was kind of cool to see, Paris and France and everything. And I know Norman Reedus, I don't know if he was recently interviewed or something. It came out that he was saying that the walkers, like a lot of the walkers that are used, or the people playing walkers in the show, are dancers. So we'll have to see how that plays out with the variant walkers, how they do things. And I'm guessing it's a lot of the people that we saw in the club with Isabel dancing, because there was a lot of like dancers there. And then if they just put Walker prosthetics on or whatever, you can't even tell that it's them. But yeah, so that's what I'm hearing about that. So we'll have to see where that goes. B from O, speaking of animals, where's Skidmark? So we're hopefully going to see Skidmark in the final 6 episodes of Fear the Walking Dead, but I don't know how old Skidmark was in, I don't know what season that was, season 5 of Fear the Walking Dead, season 6, whatever it was. But if you got a 7-year time jump, would Skidmark still be alive? Yes, right? I mean, cats live to be 16, 17, sometimes 20 years old. In the zombie apocalypse, now their life expectancy is probably far less, but I'm expecting to see Skidmark. There were some reports that Skidmark filmed in the final 6 episodes. So they're going to wrap it up one way or another. So they got to wrap it up with Troy Madison, Strand, Daniel. So it's something that, they're going to wrap everything up, and they have to. So I don't know if they're going to have everything answered or not. Probably not. So, no, we're not going to have dancing walkers. They're going to be walkers that were like professional dancers. So they can move in a way or do stuff that's, in a way that is definitely, because I don't think we're going to have like dancing. Well, they're not going to be doing Thriller like that too. No, they're not going to be like, not going to be breakdancing, but, but they can be more flexible and bendable and whatever there too. So we'll see what that means for the walkers in there too. I don't know what it is going forward, but that's kind of what I've heard as well. And man, there's a lot of cats that lived to be 23, 27. And definitely didn't, I think if a cat lives to be like 17, 18, 19 years old, that's a pretty good life for a cat. That's a long time. If you look at it too, Milo just turned 16 and he's got problems. He throws up and he's, not sure of things. He's got to have arthritis. He's probably confused. He can't hear very well, whatever. There's a lot of things like that. But he's doing pretty well on there too. So, but I don't know. I think I looked it up one time what the cat years is. If a cat's 16, I don't know if he's like in his 70s then, maybe early 80s. I don't know. But see, like Tim says, had a cat make it to 25? That's pretty crazy. But it's great, as long as the cat or animal, just the animal in general, has a good, healthy lifestyle, they're, can function okay and they're doing well. And maybe they probably sleep a lot more. They probably don't do much, but, still feels like your baby and your child, I've been talking to a lot of my patients this past week, actually. And, some have cats, some have dogs, and we're talking about things. And, we're talking about different animals, and, I talk about how I got Milo and how I got Otis and how I got this. And Milo's a Hemingway cat, and he's got the extra claws, and it's kind of cool. And some people know what it is, some people don't. And it's just cool experience on there, too. I haven't really had any patients yet talk about the Walking Dead universe yet, but you never know. We'll see. It's always cool to talk about the Walking Dead. I don't know if it's not what it once was by any means. But, yeah, so we'll see what happens going forward in the next couple episodes with the Daryl show. But it's crazy. Next week is episode 3, which is the halfway point. So hopefully stuff gets answered and hopefully stuff gets set up for it. And, yeah, I'm excited for that. But I'm also really excited for the Rick and Michonne show. I'm waiting for that actual trailer and then the date. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. When this show ends, maybe into Fear the Walking Dead. So we'll get to see what that is. And once it's out, it'll be everywhere, I'm sure, too. So the big thing about the Walking Dead universe is that it's still going. I don't know if it's going strong for a lot of people. Are you still excited about it? Like, I asked the question, do people, like, I'm sure everybody here cares about the show and cares about, the Daryl Dixon show in the Walking Dead universe. But, like, in general, do you feel like people care about this? They don't care about it? Will people come back to the universe? I think we have to get some pretty big answers for people to come back. And I think if anybody's going to come back when they do, it would be to see Rick and Michonne, to see what happens there more than anything. But the Daryl show is doing a good job. Dead City has done a good job. So the spinoffs have worked. And you couldn't have Dead City and the Daryl show be part of season 12 because you would have an episode of Negan and Maggie and then an episode of Daryl in France and then an episode of, I don't know, the Commonwealth or whatever, and then an episode back to France and an episode back to Dead City, an episode back to this, an episode for that, an episode that is like crazy. So, but overall, so what do you think if you watch the episode or not, what do you think with Laurent being born after his mother was bit by the walker on her arm? What does that mean for Laurent? What does that mean? Is he immune? Or is it just everybody's infected anyway, so it doesn't matter? Or could he actually get bit and survive? If that's happened, it's basically The Last of Us. For a lot of people, maybe he's a day walker. No, it works. Day walker. He's a French walker. Because The Walking Dead, walker. Day walker. So it's definitely something that I'm interested to see where it goes. If he becomes immune, great. If he's not, great. I think it's a little cheesy if he is immune, but hey, if it works, great. That's great too. So, yeah, no. When they say Laurent, like Laurent, they don't even say like when Isabel says Laurent, she's like Laurent. It sounds like she says no. She's like no. But to me, if you look at the way you spell Laurent, it's Laurent, right? Like so, and like it, like so you'd be like, so Max says the T is silent in Laurent, like that would be Jeanette as well. So Jean, so it's Laurent and Jean, John, Long, Le, Long, like great. I guess I don't know. I'm not putting down how they say the name. I've had a lot of friends that when I was in college that were from other countries. Like, they looking at their name, it wouldn't look that way. And I actually work with somebody who has a name that does not look like Dejan. It looks like Dejan Mustard, but he pronounces it Dejan. And so it just looks differently because it's a J instead of a Y. So it's definitely something. It's a nice, cool learning experience. I mean, I'm born and raised in the United States, in New Jersey. So learning the names of different countries and stuff is a learning curve. How they say it, how they don't. So it's not a big deal. But it's still like, I don't know. But Isaiah's Jets at Cowboys today, bro. Yeah, big game. I mean, the Cowboys should win this game because the Jets' defense is good, but I don't have faith in Zach Wilson. So if they can shut the run game down and they can match the defensive efforts on both sides, I just think the Cowboys' offense is going to be better. And so if they can get to Zach Wilson and force some turnovers, don't make any turnovers themselves, I think they should win the game. But we'll see. Any given Sunday, we'll see how it happens. Grey Poupon, Dijon. Yeah. So ultimately, guys, that's what we're doing now. We're watching, we're finishing up Ozark. We just finished up Modern Family. So we watched all that entire series. And Modern Family is good from start to finish. When we went to watch it, I was like, I don't remember being good when Jay and Gloria's son Joe was born on the show. Like they had that new kid Joe. I thought he was more annoying, but he was fine. And Lily is okay. She didn't really do anything for the show, but she's better. Like most of the kids are better when they're younger. Like Manny is far hilarious, one of the best characters on the show when he's younger. He doesn't turn into that great of a character when he gets older, but it's a good show nonetheless, and it gets holds up from the beginning episode to the ending. Now we're picking up on Everybody Loves Raymond, which I never really watched before. Thank you, Max. Yeah, I try. Well, I'm trying to just pronounce it how they pronounce it on the show as best as I can, just because I just try to emulate what they're saying on there as well. But we're watching Everybody Loves Raymond, and it's funny because Raymond's dad on the show is just like my father-in-law. Like the mannerisms, the way he talks, the personality. I'm just like, every time we watch it, I crack up because it's so much like my father-in-law. I'm like, man, it's crazy. So Max says, like, les havre is the last E is silent. So it's les have. Have, herv, le herv. So either way, the port, we'll just call it the port. So we'll get to see what happens with that. And I guess the best way for those to connect things there is to show what happened there, the ship, thanks, Mac. I got like a French tutor here. He's teaching me French here, so I appreciate it, Max. But So I'm guessing the port is going to be where the final showdown is. And I would love to see Carol show up at the end of the season. So I just know that she was filming this season, season 2, and I don't know if she did any filming for the first season at all. But I would assume that the port is what's going to find out what's going to happen there. We'll find out answers as well. And what is it going to mean with, the Lady Jean and just the characters that were there and Caudron, and what does it mean? Like, who does she report to? Who's the scientist or the doctor that's working on the walkers? Is he making the variant walkers? Are they just happening by chance? Is he trying to weaponize them? Like, I don't know. There's a lot of good. And clearly Daryl gets captured again and has to fight a walker in an underground fighting pit thing. He has a battle axe and he's ready to take out a walker. So we'll have to see. Are they runners? Do they dodge? Can they get away from that? Because who cares if a walker is running at you, if it just runs right at you and you just stab it with a spear or shoot it or kill it easily? Can they have agility? Can they make decisions? Are they smarter? Are they harder to kill? Because I know not a lot of people, but some people saw the World Beyond post-credit scene and they think that the lady got shot. She was shot in the head and she came back as a walker, so you can't just kill him in the brain. But that doesn't make sense in my opinion. So we'll see. Michael says, why does Daryl get taken so much? I don't know. Like I know when I'm writing Fight for Us, I kind of have similar things. Like, so Ryan's my main character and he is going to have hardships. Like, he's going to get injured and he's going to get this and he's going to get that and he's going to have this and stuff's going to happen around him. I guess it's just what's going to happen with Daryl. Like, Daryl's been through a lot before the zombie apocalypse, so he can take a lot of punishment. He's built for this world. He can handle it. So he gets captured and wounded and injured because he can handle it. And I don't know. Like, it just seems like that Daryl gets captured, like, by any group that comes across, he interacts with them more than any other character. Like, I know not the Wolves, that was more Morgan and stuff, but with the Saviors and the Claimers and Terminus, just so many things. Now he got captured here and he got helped by the nuns and then captured by these kids, and now he's going to get captured again by Caudron and he's going to get probably injured at some point. Yeah, so we'll have to see. So. Yeah, that's true, Jeannie. He said you can get shot in the head and not have brain damage. That's true. But it's hard to tell. It was dark, and I don't know. Don't really. The whole point was that the person kind of turned into a variant walker. They were fast. They were stronger. They were more aggressive. But I don't know. So we'll have to see. Hopefully we have some answers about the Primrose team and the Violent team and the research that was done there. The French CDC. And I'm guessing that laptop and those hard drives are still there from the post-credit scene. So, will Daryl take them? Will Daryl, take them back to somebody else? Because I don't think Daryl, unless they go full Fast and Furious style, I don't think Daryl's going to become James Bond, where he can hack into things and get into hard drives and be able to figure stuff out like that. Like, Fast and Furious is hilarious how that turned into. These people are secret agents and they can handle all this stuff, and it's way more than just driving cars in a quarter mile now. But shows and movies and jump the shark. So we'll see. Dragon Ball Radiant says, well, if a walker is sprinting at you while your weapon is already in somebody else's head. Well, yeah, of course. But if it's just one-on-one and the walker's coming at you and you just stab it and kill it, great. So, yeah, the walkers would close the gap more. But anytime there's a major character, like when Daryl's in the moat, there's 100 walkers down there. And Daryl's one by one, kill the walker, spin around, kill the walker, pick up the rifle, kill the walker. Okay, what do I do? No walkers are coming on him. But if you're going to get killed, the walkers come on you. It's just kind of what happens in here too. So it is what it is overall. But overall, it doesn't really make that much difference to what they do. It's just little things, the continuity where if a main, like Rick could run through all these walkers from the RV that was damaged. He ran back from a middle of nowhere road to Alexandria. Glenn was surrounded by walkers on this stuff with a body on him. And he was not ripped in the face. They just ripped apart the guy's body, Nicholas's, that was on top of him. And you're like, what? Okay, you just got out of it. And it is what it is, but the main characters and the characters have the plot armor, and they're going to stay alive. And we all know that Daryl has the plot armor more than anybody else in the world of the Walking Dead universe. Daryl ain't going to die until the very, 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 very end, if at all. So we'll have to see how it goes down. But there you go, guys. That's my time. I truly appreciate you guys taking the time. I should be back. Let me see. Yep, I'll be back next Sunday. I won't be able to do a live stream on October 1st, but next Sunday I'll be back to talk about The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon Season 1, Episode 3. So we'll talk about Episodes 1, 2, and 3. What's going to set up for season 1, Episode 4 with all that stuff. But I'll be back next Sunday, guys. Enjoy the episode tonight if you haven't seen it yet on AMC. Go Cowboys. Hopefully your team wins, unless it's the Jets. I don't want them to win because they play the Cowboys. But ultimately, guys, let me know your thoughts. Post your comments below. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. We truly appreciate all the love and support. Keep working hard, guys. With hard work, dedication, belief, and sacrifice, you can truly achieve your goals. I'll be back next Sunday, guys.